Hey, this is my reflective statement for ETP 401. This assignment has really been interesting in terms of forcing myself to dive into the idea of assessments, whether it be just your day to day stuff in the classroom or your big external tests. The first time I thought critically of assessment would have been back in my BCE years. I remember I was in a class with a student who was not your book smart type of kid, but he was able to answer any question or use different chemicals to make whatever he wanted. But come exams and written tests, he couldn't put his ideas from his head to like pen and paper. Like I knew he was more advanced in the subject than myself, yet come your test, I was the one receiving high scores just because he couldn't put his ideas to the page. And I just remember thinking, this isn't really fair. It's working out for me, but this isn't really what he wants to be doing. Like it's not showing what he's capable of. It just wasn't fair. I mean, now at university, we talk about all these different learners, all these different types of learners, and how assessment should encompass all types of students, to get the best out of everyone. I mean, a lot's changed over the years, but there's so much that hasn't. I mean, we look at the high stakes testing, for example. NAPLAN's frowned upon by nearly everyone I talk to in the education system, even like parents, students, teachers, everyone alike. The conversations I have are a lot more. The negatives take up a lot more of the conversation than the positives do surrounding NAPLAN and other international external tests as well. This because it mainly just encompasses a few types of learners. It hasn't changed, and the results that are released at the end of the year, it gives the teacher in the classroom, 2 months to try and rectify any weaknesses. I mean, if a kid's got a lot of problems, then it's going to be hard for the teacher to have any impact on them in the last few months. And these tests as well really have an input into what changes in our curriculum, like what changes implemented over the course of the years, despite the fact that some learners in the classroom aren't even being engaged in the tests and they're not giving a proper opportunity to show their education, and they just have to sit there and write on the page without really doing their best work. And I believe students should have their best chance to present their learning, whether that be just however they choose best suits them, of course with specific boundaries. I feel that the inquiry unit at my placement, which is in the case study of this website, is a perfect example of this, as it provides a range of activities over the course of the assessment. That includes your critical thinking, your discussion, your observations, still got your literacy and numeracy, your reading, but you've got to do research, you've got to use technology. I mean, with all other factors included, it really gives every student a chance to show what they know and gives them a chance to shine in whichever technique they like. I mean, assessment is a very contested subject at the minute, or it always has been, and I believe it needs to actively involve more learning types on the national scale rather than just in the one classroom. The DET and the Montessori systems both have their strengths, but both have ways to go in adapting for every type of learner and getting the best out of all of the students. And this becomes only harder as students get older, like myself when I was in VCE, where every student is expected to show learning by doing the sit-down tests. But at least in the junior levels, the classroom teacher can play around with the assessment in their learning, which is why I enjoy primary education so much, really, as you really feel rewarded by seeing each student flourish in their own way of learning. Hinchy highlights just how, because a student could repeat a definition, this does not mean the student gains any real understanding of what a word or phrase means or how it could be used. Something which I believe assessment should actually be aiming for. They should be targeting a sense of understanding and knowledge in the student, not just them reciting something that the teachers told them a week before. Educational theorist John Dewey as well shares this view, arguing how for every experience should be educative towards each learning style and then analysing this for further improvement in the future. So that John Dewey argues that everything that happens at school should be educative. Like there shouldn't ever be a waste. Like do high standardised tests promote this? Not really, because a lot of the kids don't find it educative at all, and it's more just for the student, the teacher's game and the school's game, but even they don't get much out of it anymore. These infamous theorists have spent years studying and researching such topics, but pushing the classroom, from the traditional sense all the way through to progressive style that most schools do now, which begs the question why assessment hasn't changed as much as the classroom has. Like Gordon Tate discusses how teaching is a profession that requires significant reflection. Um, so we hope that those who design these forms of assessments have a significant reflection period after each assessment, but it doesn't seem to be the case. Thanks.